Hey, look at this. This is pretty cool. Save the Earth. What if I put it right there? Do you think that if I put it right there long enough, that my brain will adapt to saving the Earth? And then I would think, probably, but I would look really weird in the process. People would judge me and think that I was insane or that I'd lost my marbles. But it might work. Yeah, that's anyway, I was gonna make this video because I had this sudden realization, and in the Buddhist text, it talks of a period of realization. A period of realization is can be confusing. It can be confusing because sometimes the real truth is almost unbelievable. And sometimes the lies that when hatred has somewhat of a purity, because hatred also has a form of purity, just like when someone tells you something so terrible but so believable that you almost readily accept it, even though the thing that whatever it is telling you means that you can no longer trust somebody very close to you. It makes you question your faith in humanity and in God. So this is very sad because somebody who had lived the way that I had lived and been around people that when it comes to money or things, they're very quick to betray you, because in a lot of the modes of my life, those kind of things were more important than loyalty, trust, respect, and friendship. I don't feel that way myself. I feel like if I was going to lose a friend, I would rather lose my stuff than lose a friend. I'd lost a lot of friends in my life over, sin, because I'm not going to go into detail because it's not really anybody's business what I've done in my life. But anyway, I got to a place of absolutely not wanting to do anything to risk losing friendships anymore. Because when I really fully felt the value of having real friends, I felt it right here in my heart. Whereas before, I never really felt it here before. You know what I mean? I have had continuous days of my heart and my mind being one and the same. Even so much that what they say is your second mind is very much like your heart, your stomach, your mind. Like, example would be like when you eat something, when you ingest something that is very good for you, and you even sacrifice something that tastes really good or looks really good, you sacrifice vanity to appease the sense of hunger instead of appeasing your physical senses. Like hunger as in, it doesn't matter if it tastes good, it matters that it actually gives me a sustainable energy to do the things I need to do on a daily basis. It matters that it extends my life because it is good for you. It doesn't matter if it tastes really good and it gives me this satisfying feeling because it tastes good. This can be said of the things that you read and watch, videos you listen to on YouTube, the people you associate with, things that you discuss with people that you are friends with. These are all things you also ingest. And I'm speaking to myself mostly, that when I began to realize this, I felt so much joy and serenity that the excitement of joy and serenity distracted me from the fact that there are people who are two-sided. People who are two-sided are like, I'm going to wait until you're really excited and happy to take advantage of you, because I know that those kind of emotions are just as potent as anger and hatred. So when you feel joy and excitement, this is not a reason to not let yourself stay mindful of the fact that there are people that know that when people get excited and happy, that they're not really fully paying attention because they're too busy trying to enjoy that feeling of peace and serenity. I will say that you can get to a place where you can feel the full capacity of peace and serenity without having to feel like you have to continue to be paranoid and be ever mindful of people who are waiting around the corner to deceive you or betray you. As one of my good friends, I consider my very good friend, has said, if you want to live a life where you don't feel like you're constantly having to judge whether you can trust somebody or not, then you need to get a better class of friends. And you need to be a better class of person. And that is the only way to diffuse this worry of me being judgmental or convicting people for things that they're thinking. Because just because I say that I have seen you doing things that are painful and they affect me, doesn't mean I don't do the same things sometimes, because I'm not perfect. What I was attempting to say was that I had this notion that this idea of universal consciousness, sometimes people use that to their advantage. If someone is telling you they're wise and they are ascended, and they turn around and take advantage of you or your family, then this also means they are not wise, they are not ascended. Ascended is here, descended is here. Descended means that they will lie to you long enough for you to believe exactly what they want you to believe, and then when they have gained your trust, do whatever they can to take from you. I personally have never done that. If I had done it, I'm not saying I was conscious of the fact that I was doing it, because if I was conscious of the fact that I was doing something like that, I would have felt very, very, very bad and guilty about it, because I'm not a bad person. Because the times when there were health reasons or mental reasons why I would do something that ignorant and hateful, I knew that it wasn't me. Like, it wasn't within me to be that kind of person. Because when I removed and diffused all those kind of things, I realized that I would never do something like that. The true me, the true self that I am, would never do something like that. If I went that far out of my way to gain someone's trust so that they would just let me be their friend and develop a relationship, it would be very ignorant and unwise for me to do things to destroy it before I get a chance to just have some of the benefits of being a person's friend. And the benefits of being a person's friend doesn't have anything to do with receiving some kind of financial gain, or like anything that they have that I could probably never get, I get to use now or whatever. No, just for me, it's just being able to talk to them. Just even like sitting there watching TV with somebody, something I haven't done in years. You know, like my mother would sit there and watch TV. I'd watch these terrible movies just because I love my mother. I wanted to have company, you know. And, those are the things that when you have these moments of the fear of death, or your life is not going to last as long as you'd hoped it would, those are the things you realize are very important. And those sudden and intense moments of realization. Me personally, I call that moments of closeness with God, or angels, or whatever it is that makes you happy. If labeling something that is spiritual, beautiful, helpful, peaceful makes you more comfortable, then by all means, you don't have to describe or explain why you label something a certain way. Unless compassion leads you to be more clear about what it is you're describing. I don't feel like I am unclear or confusing about the things that I say. I feel like when people are confused and distracted and they listen to me speak about things, they think I'm being confusing and distracting. This is a typical symptom of these beautiful, wonderful children of God and people on earth that are trying to attain some sense of enlightenment or peace, and they get stuck in certain places, and it seems like nobody wants to help them come out of that place of being confused. I can tell you that if it were up to me and I had the time and money, then every single person that was stuck in that place I would be willing to sit there with until they came out of it. Because I sat there alone for a long time, wondering if somebody could help me, or trying to find somebody on the internet and in the world. So instead of doing like other people do and not really stopping my personal life to stop and try to assist somebody, because what is pleasing to God is more important than what is pleasing to people around me. I know this for a fact now. And again, it doesn't matter what you call God. It is also true that when you do something for people, you're also doing something for God. As universal consciousness is like collective consciousness. Like imagine that one person who is stuck in a place, a rut, or being afraid of irrational things and not knowing how to just be normal again. And then imagine how many people are in that same place at that moment. Then you realize the accumulated energy or inertia that comes out of that confusion can veritably affect a lot of people. Then you realize the gravity and the importance of a lack of compassion being removed and diffused. This kind of goes back to the parable of the crab trying to get out of the bucket. That when the crab reaches the top of the bucket, he realizes that there's a crab clutching to the bottom of his leg, pulling him back down into the bucket. Now, this is another reason why I agree with people who say when you depend on people and things to gain some kind of mastery in your life, they will fail you because they are imperfect and they are fallible. When you depend on the benevolent, loving, omnipresent, kind, compassionate Creator, then it will not fail you. If you depend on a non-sentient being to gain some sort of peace or serenity or enlightenment in your life, then you will have success. When you depend on people who are caught in corporate reality, in other words, they are trying to hold a job, pay bills, and get money. And I'm not saying like just get enough money. I'm saying people who their only real goal is to make a lot of money. And that isn't wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is that there are people who put other things above money. A lot of people. Like I put my relationship with God, my relationship with Christ, and my love for people above money. My love for people and the air, the water, the earth, the sky are more important than money. First of all, money is impermanent. Money is depreciating. The sky, the water, the sun, the moon, those are not impermanent. They have been there before there even was money. So it made sense to me to not put money above all these things that need to be more important universally. Because if love, respect, honor, and peace and serenity are more important universally, then it would affect the whole earth. And people being in denial of the fact that I just spoke into existence doesn't change the fact that I just spoke into existence. Being in denial of the fact that accumulated collective peace and serenity affects the whole world is like properly aligning your will with your creator. It's like a temple of Buddhist monks who sit and they meditate on the same precept or virtue day and day and day in and day out. And after doing that, they are so focused on that one principle of love that they have aligned their organ senses together with love, and they're able to transmute it and send it to a person who may need it or a group of people. These are the kind of things that you don't need proof or scientific evidence, although they probably could affirm some kind of evidence of this. It isn't necessary. You know what I mean? Some things that are worthy of love, honor, and respect, you don't need to sort of alter or change with some kind of written form of evidence. This is also why the Bible says signs and wonders are that of an adulterous nation. It's because you're so obsessed with some of the beautiful trees in the forest that you don't see that the whole forest is way more beautiful than just one of its beautiful trees. So you can't appreciate nature as a whole because you're stuck in this sense of vanity. And I'm not judging you for being that way. I was saying that I had been that way, and I began to understand why vanity is considered a sin, or why letting your eyes deceive you, or your senses deceive you into an untimely death, why it is a sin. Like, a cheeseburger is very good. It tastes very good. If you eat a cheeseburger every day for 6 months, nowadays you would probably die of a heart attack. If you ate a pizza every 2 days, 2 or 3 pizzas, and then you kept walking around seeing homeless people having no food, and then for some reason you just felt guilty and you didn't know why. You just felt guilty, like, I shouldn't eat this pizza, it's so much. Your subconscious mind may be trying to tell you, did you saw that homeless guy over there? He was really hungry, and you had like 2 pizzas, and you'd already eaten like 10 hamburgers that day. So your subconscious mind or your higher self is trying to say, if you feel guilt, diffuse it with compassion or acts of charity. Try to do something for someone else, and you won't feel a guilt and a shame that is going to make you not feel happiness or peace. And it sounds very simple, and it sounds too simple to actually be a reality. And this is also why people get stuck in denial, because it is really that simple. It is. Just that one little act, one little small thing that you could do for somebody will allow you to ascend out of depression or stress and anxiety. Because denying the guilt that is your true heart, telling you to stop doing something that is not only cheating the person out of something that you have plenty of, you're cheating yourself out of something more beneficial to your soul and your body, which is charity and compassion, love and honor. When you show love and honor to people, God also shows love and honor to you. And if you don't want to believe in God, if you want to choose atheism or something, then you can still call it collective consciousness of love. Because even if you don't believe in God, there's still love in the world. Love is an energy form. Love is an energy form that is not like lust, greed, or gluttony, because love is perfectly balanced in every form that it takes. Love is like an angel that says, hey, you're doing this again in a way that is harmful to you. Try to slow down a little bit. Love is like that sweet, soft voice within you that you know 100% is not trying to hurt you. Love is not the angry, obsessive separation of this emotion that you didn't want to feel. Because I've had those days numerous times where I would hear this thing and I wouldn't hear it like words in my head. I would have this sense of something very negative trying to criticize and judge me for something that's really not something I'm attempting to think of. Like the ways that I am imperfect, the fact that I am older than I used to be, the fact that I'm, not as good looking as I used to be, the fact that I have certain physical impediments now because of growing older. And when you focus on those things, then that's almost all you see. And you can't see the good things because you're too busy focusing on things that aren't really that important. So I was only saying that because I had a plethora of numerous ideas that I could have made a lot of money off of. The key issue was that I didn't have money to invest in the ideas. So when that happened and I saw that other people were quick to pick up on it and they made a bunch of money and didn't even know where the idea came from, and now some of them are very wealthy, independently wealthy, and I felt pretty cheated. I felt very cheated. I felt like a lot of the ideas were like Hollywood ideas, like movies or books, and in Hollywood, I could be wrong, but somebody had told me that in Hollywood they would have you go backwards and be getting them coffee while helping them do their ideas, while your ideas are actually better. So I didn't want to do that. I felt like Hollywood is a vile, corrupt place. In fact, I've been to Hollywood and it's an ugly place. It is an ugly place. It isn't beautiful. It isn't glamorous. It's ugly. I sat there across from a Chinese theater watching people do ungodly things in broad daylight while little kids and their families were walking by touristing, And I thought, wow, people don't really know this because they don't want to, mess with, what do you call it, tourism. Like people who have no idea that Hollywood is a disgusting, terrible, dirty place. They spend their money that they have gotten from spending time working, and they take a trip to Hollywood, and then when they get there, they're like, I should have never gone to Hollywood. Because when they get there, they're like, their kids are like, Mommy, why is that guy bleeding all over the place in front of McDonald's with a needle in his hand? And the mother is like, oh, don't look at that, little Johnny. Don't pay attention to that. He's diabetic. So this is very true for a lot of places in America because they have the internet. But the internet generally doesn't tell you these small things like this. They don't tell you, here is a site that gives you the information about every place you could be possibly wanting to visit on vacation. And I work for no one else, so I'm not going to tell you a bunch of stuff promoting some business so I can get a percentage from that business. I'm going to tell you things that are good for your family and you, expecting that I'll get absolutely no benefit from you. Because I don't care about your money as much as I care about your safety. And that you get the things you want out of your life. which would create more peace, happiness, and serenity for you and your family. I don't care about these businesses that would be mad at somebody for not promoting them while forfeiting this family's safety due to the external circumstances of the place that they're visiting. These are all symptoms of universal consciousness. Like somebody who saw that marketing, commercialism, materialism victimizes people all over the world, victimizes them. It makes them feel like there are no good people left in the world. Everybody, and this is not true. They can put you in a place to where the people that you're around disagree with you, and you will slowly begin to think that everybody's like that. I do not agree with that. I've had it happen to me a few times where I almost felt like there was some external source trying to force me into believing something that I know is wrong. Because if you get enough people telling you one thing long enough, you're going to believe it. I do not do that anymore. I do not do that. You're free to believe whatever you want. Just understand that when people suggest things around you, if you're not mindful, if you're not paying attention to what is being suggested, your mind will slowly begin to think that that's reality. And it is not reality. Suggested commercialism or marketing is not reality. And I say that because it's happened to me numerous times. I have lost $1 million ideas just for sharing them with somebody that I thought that I could trust. And then